Commander Zextai had made many mistakes in his long military career, but threatening the family of Marcus Chen would prove to be his last. The Catherian fleet hung in the void above New Geneva, their crystalline hulls glinting menacingly in the system's pale sunlight. 27 ships strong, equipped with graviton cannons and quantum disruptors that could crack a planet's crust. The human colony below had no defenses worth mentioning, just mining equipment and a handful of civilian transports. Surface dwellers, Zextai broadcast through the universal translator, his mandibles clicking with disdain. You will surrender your refined trilithium reserves immediately, or we will demonstrate why your species should have remained in their gravity wells. The response came from a single human male, his voice calm despite the impossible odds. This is Marcus Chen, colony administrator. I'm afraid I can't do that, Commander. These resources belong to my people. Zextai's compound eyes narrowed. Humans were known throughout the galaxy as Deathworlders, survivors from a planet so hostile it had forged them into something that made even the Catherian High Command nervous. But this human sounded so ordinary. Perhaps you misunderstand the situation, Zextai hissed. We have tracked your family's biometric signatures. Your mate, Sarah Chen, your offspring, David, age 12, and Emma, age 8. They are currently in what you call Residential Block 7. He paused, savoring the moment. One quantum torpedo would turn that entire section into vapor. The silence stretched for exactly 47 seconds. When Marcus Chen spoke again, something had changed in his voice, something that made Zextai's exoskeleton prickle with unease. Commander, Marcus said quietly, I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. Down on the surface, Marcus stood in the colony's emergency command center, his hands steady as he activated systems that hadn't been touched since the settlement's founding. The peaceful mining colony had been built on the bones of an old Terran Defense Force installation, a fact conveniently omitted from most official records. My grandfather fought in the Centauri rebellions, Marcus continued, his fingers dancing across ancient military interfaces. My father died defending Kepler Station from the Vortex swarm. And me? I spent 15 years in the Deep Space Corps before I came here looking for peace. The first surprise came when the colony's mining equipment began to unfold. Massive drilling platforms rotated to reveal concealed particle beam arrays. What Zextai had mistaken for ore refineries transformed into shield generators, their energy screens crackling to life around the settlement. You see, Commander, there's something about us Deathworlders that most aliens never quite understand. Marcus's voice carried the weight of accumulated fury, controlled and focused like a laser beam. We don't just survive because our planet tried to kill us. We survive because we never stop fighting. The second surprise was the arrival of the cavalry. Emergency beacons had been broadcasting since the moment the Catherian fleet appeared, racing through hyperspace on quantum-entangled carriers. And humans, Marcus knew, were very good at responding to distress calls from family. Catherian fleet. This is Admiral Rebecca Foster of the Terran Defense Force aboard the dreadnought Indomitable. You have exactly 30 seconds to withdraw from this system before we demonstrate why threatening human civilians is considered a war crime. Zextai's sensor operator began chittering in panic. Commander, hyperspace signatures. Multiple capital ships translating in system. The space around New Geneva erupted with blue-white flashes as 18 human warships materialized from hyperspace. At their head came the Indomitable, 3 kilometers of armored death bristling with weapons that could sterilize worlds. Flanking her were heavy cruisers and destroyers, their hulls bearing the scars of 100 battles. But Marcus wasn't finished. You mentioned my family, Commander, he said, his voice now carrying an edge that could cut diamond. Let me tell you about them. Sarah isn't just my wife, she's a former Intelligence Corps operative who still holds the record for confirmed assassinations. David has been training in zero-G combat since he could walk. And Emma? Marcus actually chuckled, though there was no humor in it. Emma can field strip a plasma rifle faster than most Marines. The third surprise came from the colony itself. Every human on New Geneva, miners, teachers, shopkeepers, children, had moved with military precision to defensive positions. They carried weapons that definitely weren't mining tools, their movements coordinated with the efficiency of a trained army. We came here for peace, Commander, Marcus said as the Terran fleet aligned their weapons. We built farms and schools and hoped our children could grow up without learning to kill. But you threatened them. You threatened our family. Zextai watched his tactical display with growing horror as targeting locks appeared across his fleet. The humans hadn't just responded, they had surrounded him. More ships continued arriving, emerging from hyperspace like angry hornets from a disturbed nest. This is what happens when you threaten a Deathworlder's family, Commander. This is what happens when you mistake our desire for peace with an inability to wage war. The final surprise was the voice that came over the general frequency. Young, bright, and absolutely terrifying in its cheerful confidence. "Hi, Daddy. It's Emma. Sarah says I get to fire the orbital defense platform if the bad bugs don't leave. Can I, please?" Commander Zextai looked at his fleet, outnumbered 3-1 by ships designed for war rather than conquest. He looked at the colony below, every position now bristling with weapons. He thought about his own clutch of eggs waiting for him in the spawning chambers of distant Kythera. "All ships," he broadcast to his fleet, his mandibles clicking rapidly. "Emergency withdrawal. Authorization Zextai 779. As the Kytherian ships engaged their hyperdrives and fled into the darkness, Marcus Chen stood down the alert and opened a channel to his daughter. "Maybe next time, sweetheart," he said gently. "Maybe next time. The galaxy learned quickly you could threaten a human. You could attack their ships, their worlds, their interests. But their families? Their families were off limits, because humans, the Deathworlders of Terra, never forgot that love was worth fighting for.